Well, the topic of the day is toxicity. I had this friend who unfortunately is no longer with us. There was a lot of things going on with this person, judgment being the least of it. But I remember, we used to talk about people. He'd say, well, like they're just spiritually sick. And there was always something really interesting about the way that he said spiritually sick, because when I think of someone being spiritually sick, I think that's supposed to prompt compassion. At least it should in me. At least that's the way I look at it. But he would say it like they're just spiritually sick. And it was more like dismissive. And I thought to myself, it kind of sounds judgmental. And I mean, and how do I recognize? Here's the basic question around the topic of toxicity or spiritual sickness, because I think they're one and the same. Toxicity and spiritual sickness are the same thing. It's like unhealed stuff, lack of spirit that's come in to reckon with oneself and evolve oneself so that whatever damage was done in the past isn't a thing of the present, right? But this idea of spiritual sickness or toxicity for me is how do I become more compassionate for that, towards that? How do I see, spiritual sickness or toxicity as something that's in everybody and something that is requiring attention of a positive nature rather than just dismissing and judging it, right? Because I want to be like, oh, this person's so sick, and I see all these videos now, and it kind of has an underpinning of some type of female empowerment, like, oh, today I'm not accepting any of this, or I'm not going to do that anymore, or I will no longer, it's a new day, a new era, I will no longer accept toxic behavior. And it's like, toxic behavior isn't coming from out there without something magnetizing it from in here. So I have needs, and some of them are good and healthy and whole and work out for me and bring me beautiful things. And then I have these like deep, well, maybe a little more dark needs, that attract these kinds of people. And so in my case, I had an emotionally absent father. So I was always attracting really good looking men who had nothing beyond that. And when I wanted depth and weight, they couldn't bring it to the table. So, the sex drive, the passion, the intensity of the physical can only bring someone so far. Right? So toxicity, it's like, what am I attracting as toxicity in my life? I mean, jobs, relationships, continual problematic situations in my family of origin, because there's a familiarity to that toxicity. And because there's something in me that hasn't been resolved or healed that I'm still reckoning with, that I, in fact, don't know how to heal. And for me, the toxicity is not something to be judged and then dismissed, because if I keep resisting it or pushing it away, it's just going to keep bouncing back. It's like push back, unless in fact this thing that's drawing it in is dealt with and mitigated, right? That energy of whatever it is, abandonment or trauma or any other kinds of like things that are inside me that want to invite that energy towards me. Right? So I have to sit back and I have to look at the things that I'm attracting. And instead of saying like, well, I'm just going to push that away and repel it, what I need to do, and what I do with my clients, is ask them to sit with it. Because inside that, when I invite a damaging person, inside that invitation is a damaging person within me, or a damaged person. Well, actually, it's both, because if I've been damaged, I have the potential to damage others. So that toxic person that's running around out there damaging other people has probably been damaged or hurt or traumatized and is still unhealed, And we love to be compassionate to the victim, but the victim turns into a perpetrator a lot of the times, and then we want to be like, oh, how could they? Oh my God! But it's the same problem and the same disease of this toxicity, because this toxicity is like unhealthy emotional patterns. This toxicity is unrecognized need for healing within ourselves. It's like it's just the stuff born of humanity making a lot of mistakes, and in my impression and experience, not taking the appropriate amount of time to look at the stuff And I'm not talking about staring it down like in some ways we're doing now, like constantly like looking at our feelings and talking about our feelings, even though that's what I'm doing right now, clearly. But what I'm talking about is I'm talking about trying to like talk about things and heal through things to move the energy, not to be like stuck in the feelings. And so if you have toxic people in your life and you don't know why they're there, send me a message and we can talk about it. And we can talk about some of the things within you that are attracting it, and some of the things within you that are a part of a pattern, and whatever other things are within you that are toxic that you just want to heal so you actually can change your life and stop attracting toxic people instead of getting on the internet and being like, I'm not attracting that toxic person anymore. Anyway, thanks for spending time with me, and I hope you have a great day. Ciao.